Kanye West is one of the most controversial and influential figures in music, fashion, and business. His journey from a struggling producer in Chicago to a billionaire business mogul is filled with dramatic highs, devastating lows, and game-changing decisions. But how did Kanye go from making beats in his bedroom to building a billion-dollar empire? What lessons can aspiring entrepreneurs learn from his success and his failures? Stick around because today, we're breaking down the fascinating story of Kanye West, the business mogul. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe if you want more deep dives into the minds of the world's most successful people. Now let's get into it. Kanye Omari West was born in Atlanta in 1977, but his mother, Donda West, raised him in Chicago. From an early age, Kanye showed a deep passion for music. His mother, an English professor, believed in his talent and supported his dreams. By the time he was a teenager, Kanye was already making beats and producing music for local artists. But back then, no one saw Kanye as a rapper. The industry viewed him as just a producer. But Kanye had bigger plans. He didn't want to just make beats. He wanted to be the one on the mic. However, breaking into the rap game wasn't easy. Labels rejected him repeatedly, telling him he didn't have the look or image of a rapper. But Kanye didn't let that stop him. He kept pushing, and in 2002, he finally got his big break when he signed with Rockefeller Records, the label founded by Jay-Z. Then something happened that could have ended his career before it even started. In October 2002, Kanye got into a near-fatal car accident that left his jaw shattered. But instead of slowing down, Kanye turned this tragedy into an opportunity. With his jaw wired shut, he recorded the song Through the Wire, rapping through the pain. This song became his breakthrough single and proved to the world that Kanye West was more than just a producer, he was a star. In 2004, Kanye dropped his debut album, The College Dropout, and it was an instant classic. He didn't fit the mold of the typical rapper. He wasn't talking about guns or street life. Instead, he rapped about real-life struggles, ambition, and self-belief. The album was a massive success, and Kanye was officially in the game. But music was just the beginning. Kanye wasn't content with just being a rapper. He wanted to change the entire culture of music, fashion, business, and beyond. While most artists focus only on music, Kanye saw himself as an innovator in multiple industries. His first big step outside of music, sneakers. Kanye's obsession with fashion and design didn't start with Yeezy. Long before his first sneaker deal, he was studying the greats, Louis Vuitton, Raf Simons, and Margiela. Unlike most artists who simply wear designer brands, Kanye wanted to be the designer. In the early 2000s, he interned at Fendi, working alongside Virgil Abloh, who would later become the artistic director of Louis Vuitton. But breaking into the high fashion world wasn't easy. Many brands dismissed Kanye, seeing him as just another celebrity trying to make clothes. But that only fueled his ambition. He knew that the fashion industry was controlled by an elite circle that didn't easily let outsiders in. So instead of waiting for approval, Kanye decided to build his own empire from the ground up. In 2009, Kanye teamed up with Nike to release the Air Yeezy 1, a sneaker that sold out instantly. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the massive success of the Yeezy line with Nike, Kanye wasn't happy. He felt that Nike wasn't giving him the control or the financial deal he deserved. So in 2013, he made a bold move. He left Nike and signed with Adidas. At the time, many people thought this was a terrible decision. Nike was the king of sneakers, and Adidas was struggling to keep up. But Kanye had a vision. He wanted to build something bigger than just a sneaker deal. He wanted ownership, creative control, and a brand that could rival Nike's Jordan empire. And with Adidas, he got that. In 2015, Kanye released the Yeezy Boost 750, and it was an instant hit. Over the next few years, Yeezy became one of the most valuable sneaker brands in the world, generating billions in revenue. By 2020, Kanye's Yeezy brand was valued at $1.3 billion, and Forbes officially declared him a billionaire. But Yeezy wasn't just about sneakers, it was about creating a movement. Kanye understood that brand loyalty isn't just about the product. It's about the story behind it. He turned Yeezy into a symbol of exclusivity, hype, and innovation. His limited sneaker drops sold out in seconds, and resale prices skyrocketed, sometimes reaching thousands of dollars. But Kanye wanted more. He didn't just want to create hype. He wanted to change how the fashion industry worked. He often spoke about his dream of making Yeezy affordable for everyone, a vision that conflicted with the luxury pricing strategy of Adidas and other high-end brands. This tension between creativity and business would later play a major role in Kanye's downfall. But Kanye didn't stop at sneakers. He wanted to dominate the fashion world too. In 2015, he launched Yeezy Season 1, a high-end fashion collection that was met with mixed reviews. Many critics laughed at his oversized sweatshirts and futuristic designs. But Kanye didn't care. He believed in his vision, and over time, Yeezy became one of the most influential fashion brands in the world. Kanye understood something that many people don't. Success isn't about fitting in. It's about creating something new and making people believe in it. He took risks, ignored the critics, and built an empire. But success comes at a price. The more Kanye pushed boundaries, the more controversy followed. His outspoken personality, unfiltered interviews, and unpredictable behavior made him a polarizing figure. Some saw him as a visionary, while others saw him as reckless. His public support of politicians, controversial statements, and clashes with the media often overshadowed his business achievements. But Kanye didn't care. He thrived on controversy, believing that attention, good or bad, was a form of power. However, he failed to realize that in business, relationships matter. Burning bridges with major brands, investors, and collaborators eventually caught up with him. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Despite all of his business success, Kanye's personal life was spiraling out of control. His controversial statements, public meltdowns, and mental health struggles became headline news. Then, in 2022, everything collapsed. Kanye made a series of highly controversial remarks that led to him being dropped by multiple brands, including Adidas. Overnight, he lost billions of dollars in deals, and his billionaire status vanished. Many people thought this was the end of Kanye West, the business mogul. The one thing that we have learned about Kanye, however, is that he does not remain down for an extended period of time. Unfailingly, he is able to recover from every setback. Following the termination of his contract with Adidas, Kanye began focusing on the autonomous reconstruction of his brand. Even though he has experienced some failures, his effect is still indisputable. Now Kanye is confronted with a new problem, which is to rebuild his empire from the ground up. The road that lies ahead is unknown on account of the absence of Adidas, the absence of large corporate backing, and the fact that many of his previous followers have distanced themselves from him. But if there is one thing that we have learned from the past, it is that Kanye West flourishes when he is under pressure. The possibility of him starting his own independent brand, free from the grip of corporations, has already been alluded to. Those with knowledge of the situation believe that he has the potential to make a comeback that is even more significant than his previous one. Does Kanye have the ability to once again disprove the world's assumptions? Or has he damaged too many relationships to be able to make a comeback to the top? If there is one thing that is certain, it is that the entire world will be following whatever Kanye does next. Is there anything that we can take away from Kanye's journey? Put your money on yourself first. Instead of waiting for approval, Kanye took action and made things happen. To continue, you need not be scared to take chances. Leaving Nike for Adidas was a risky move, but it turned out to be extremely profitable. Third, maintain ownership of your brand. The most significant setback for Kanye was when he was unable to maintain control over his own narrative. If you want to be successful, your reputation is the most important thing in the world. Kanye West's story is far from over. Whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying that he has changed music, fashion, and business forever. His journey is a masterclass in ambition, resilience, and reinvention. If you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating entrepreneurs. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about Kanye West? Genius or reckless? Let's talk about it.